Welcome to Faro Training. This video will cover navigation and selection tools in Planar and QuickView. This video is the second in a series of 3. It is recommended you watch the overview video first. This one goes into more depth about the selection and navigation tools in Planar and QuickView. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to navigate in both views, identify which selection tools are available, select points for manipulation, and be able to choose the best view for a particular use. This will enable you to display and select your data so that you can manipulate it with other functions later. We will start by looking at a planar view in Scene, then adding selection tools, and then we will looking at using it all in a QuickView. So the first thing I'm going to do is open a planar view in Scene. I'll do that by right-clicking on a scan and going to View, Planar View. This view takes the 3D globe of points and lays it out flat, much like a map of the world. And then, like a map, you'll see that the top and the bottom end up getting more stretched out, and that straight lines will start to become curved, particularly the more so the further north or south they are. The advantage of this view, though, is that I can scroll out and see the entire image at once, one whole scan, so that I can select whatever area I want to, whole sections. I also find that it can be the crispest image, and I find it the easiest one to find, select, create objects for registration in this view. You'll generally see a little bit of a seam, which is where the scanner stopped and started and those edges came together. Don't be too concerned about the seam here. Once you bring it into a 3D view, you'll see that the points do line up. It's just a little bit of the visual that comes with the warping from that planar view. To pan around in this view, and it's always panning, not rotating, because we're actually looking at a 2D image. Well, it's a 2D image of 3D points. I'll press and hold the left button when I have my pan hand up to move it around. I can also use the scroll bars at the bottom or on the side. To zoom, I can use the mouse scroll wheel. I can use the plus or the minus keys to zoom into areas. I can also use the drop down to choose the percentage that I want. After I've used those magnifier buttons, I can switch back to pan by pressing the pan hand. Also, when I hover over any points in this planar view, you'll see in this bottom row, I'll have the row and column number of any point I'm hovering over. It'll give me the distance and the 2 angles that it's out at that distance. And I'll get the X, Y, and Z position in a coordinate system of where that point is. I'll also have the reflectivity value, that RF number there. The higher the RF, the brighter it is, and the lower the RF, the darker it is. Now we're going to look at these selection tools, but I'm going to blow them up a little bit bigger so that you can see. So the selection tools. These are available in a planar and a quick view. Use different selection tools in a 3D or a correspondence view. We've got the set on the left, which are shape selectors, and the set on the right, which are type selectors. The shapes we have available are rectangle, line, polygon, circle, oval, and edge selector. When you first select any shape, new selection will automatically put in. The new selection means that each selection you do, it'll wipe out the last one and start you a new one. With add selection, you can make one selection, and then you can make another non-contiguous selection, and it will keep both sets of them, so you can keep on adding more areas. With subtract selection, you can select around something you already have selected to take it out of your selection. And with intersect selection, you'll make one shape and then another shape that are overlapping, and only the overlapping area is kept. So using these in Scene, start with the rectangular selection. New selection is what's up automatically. I'll left click and then drag down to the bottom corner to select my rectangle. You'll see, since I'm in new selection, if I make another rectangle, it'll make the first one disappear and I'll keep the second one. I also have a line selector. I left click to start the line, and I double click to finish it. There are points selected here, but they're only the very few points that are directly under this line. You can also make it a longer line by left clicking, left click, left click, left click, double click to keep that. Or I can left click, and if I don't like it, I can right click it to get out of that command. The polygon selector is probably the one I use most often. You start with the left click, and you enclose with a left click the area you're going to want to encircle, and then you double click to close it, and then that whole section will be selected in yellow. Whatever yellow selection you have is then what you can use to create an object, model something, run a filter on, something like that in the future. Now I'll show the circle selector. The circle selector, it starts out very small, and I'll use the mouse wheel to adjust it so I can make it bigger or smaller with my mouse wheel. And then I can click, and I've got a circle. The ellipse or oval circle selector, I left click once at the starting point, and then I stretch it out to the length and the direction that I want it to be in. And that mouse wheel, useful again, to make it bigger or smaller, wider or narrower really. Then I left click to lay down where those points are going to be. The edge selector is pretty interesting. I'm going to zoom in over here. What it does is it'll look for an edge that it sees as a difference in color contrast between a lighter and darker. So I'm going to go for this area here. I'll left click somewhere near the beginning of it, and as I move generally close to that area, it'll try to stick to right on the contrast line. It'll lay down a line there. I can also left click and then draw straight lines if there are areas without that amount of contrast, and I can double click to close it again. Now for the different type of selectors, actually I'll make a circle, and then I can add selection, so then I'll have another circle, and I can keep on adding different shapes using my add selection. With subtract selection, which I'll hit next, I can then just take out one or two of these if I don't actually want that area. I can also use the polygon selector and select out some pieces. So then I have some great little Pac-Man on my screen. And intersect selection. Now whatever I select over this, only what's intersecting is what's going to be kept. If I start a new selection, it'll be 1, 2, the intersecting piece is what's kept. So that is using those selector tools in that view. I'm now going to open a QuickView. I can do that by double clicking on the scan or by right clicking and go to View, QuickView. This one's a little quicker. In a QuickView, I rotate instead of pan, because this is actually looking at it in a 3D view as it was seen by the scanner, but it's still only a single scan, so we're always looking from the perspective of the scanner itself. To rotate around, I just press and hold the left button. I can also zoom in and out using the mouse scroll wheel, but you can't zoom out too far, not past where you have a 180-degree field of view, otherwise you'll just get warped because you can't really get behind where the scanner was. So don't zoom out too far. But we can use the same kind of selector tools that we were using before. Make a circle, I can make squares, I can add selection and make a polygon, double click to close it. The only one I can't use is the edge selector. All the other ones will work in this QuickView. So to summarize, I have shown you how to navigate in Planar and QuickView and shown you how to use their tools for selection. Thank you very much and have a nice day.